Welcome to the Masterclass series. Today we're having Women in Business, where experienced female entrepreneurs are coming in to share their tips, experiences on navigating the industry as female entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much for the information shared. I think you can all realize why Futuremakers and Standard Chartered are one thing and why it's important that they help other women as well come into business together and, create magic, as I would say. They say that the future is female, right? Yes, we belong in the future, and the stats are proving it. More and more women are coming into business, more and more women are showing enthusiasm and actually raising the economy. We're out here developing the economy and being a part of why there's so much employment, why there is so much diversity within our economy. So I thank Standard Chartered so much, because without them, we wouldn't be able to be here and do what we do. Because as much as we want to start as women, as individuals, power to women, we need people who will back us up. And I feel like Standard Chartered are the perfect people. For this moment, we will be going into individual presentations where we have one of our panelists, in fact, all our panelists, give us ideas and presentations just about what it is to be a woman in business, how you can start your business as a woman, how you can mix those huge responsibilities that you have as a woman in business and combine them with actually being a CEO, with actually running your business, maybe full-time, maybe part-time, how you're doing it and how it can benefit you to still stabilize. We have topics such as prejudice and glass ceilings. These are things that were created because women were not believed to actually, break those ceilings. And we are here to say you can and you will.
But business is not easy. I'd be lying if I say it's easy. I'm here, but I'm supposed to be doing 1, 2, 3, but I made a sacrifice to be here because I knew this was very important. But business is not easy. Getting your first-time clientele, convincing people to trust you is not easy. So you need to know then how you're going to go ahead, set the right principles for yourself. The principles that you live by are going to be easy to continue practicing as you go on with your life. This is something I told myself a long time back when I was still in varsity. I said, I'm going to keep my word. I'm going to make sure that I keep my word. And I keep my word to myself first before I can keep my word to the second person. And I live by that. Every time a client walks in and says, I want this and this and this, I will ask them, when do you want it? They will say, I want this by this. We will make sure that is done by the time that it will be done by the time we agreed on. So it's the principles, it's identity. Are we together? It's your identity. Set the right identity. Who are you? Who do you want to be identified as? Secondly, is the principles that will guide you to who you say you are. Keep your word in business. It's very important. I know right now, maybe the youth to say, youth businesses are not really this because they'll promise you this and then they don't do this, but prove them wrong. I am one of the people that prove people wrong as a woman in business because I keep my word. I work hard. There were days when I could work until 12 midnight and sleep in the office because I had promised a client that by 10 o'clock the next morning, your order is going to be ready. So if it means extending my hours of work and letting my colleagues go home, I do it. I've slept in the office a couple of times. I went home in the morning just to bath and come back to work. Yeah, workaholic. But it works. It brought in the results. It brought in more clients. People trusted me the more. Now, and then you need to find what you are good at. Remember I said, ke simolotse ka dikgalase. Those plastic cups, I started with small plastic cups, and I was good with them. I can do them, like Tanya, I know where to get them, I know where to buy the material, I know what to do, I know the specs in my head, I know the measurements, so it's good. You give me t-shirts, let's say, for example, 50 t-shirts, depending on the design, I can do them alone in 2 hours. That is the cutting of the material, the weeding, the entire production to get a whole t-shirt that's printed in 2 hours. But depending on the design, sometimes I'm faster. I can take an hour, depending on the design. You guys are looking at me like, what? Is she crazy? No, I'm not. It's actually work that I've done. Because at first I was alone. My business partner doesn't stay in town, so most of the time I'm the one running the business. So I was alone. I had to learn everything, how to operate the machines and everything in a week. So I was alone because I couldn't afford to pay anyone. Sometimes you can't afford to pay anyone in business. You have to do it alone. I don't know if any of my colleagues would agree to that. You have to work alone. And you also have to do that in order to understand the business. Now, moving to my third point. Understand the business. Know the business. But you can't run a business that you don't know. It doesn't matter when you're the boss, you sit in the office and, you're the boss. There's nothing wrong with that. You can have your own separate office, but you need to know each and everything that happens in your business. You need to know. Can I take off this mask? It's a little bit disturbing. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. But you need to know what's happening in your business. Be it from the cleaning to, to the finance, to the marketing, to the operations. You need to know. So be ready for that. Be ready to work overtime in order to understand how your business operates. This is very important because you are then able to hold somebody accountable when they don't do what you demand. 50 t-shirts in 2 hours. So I wouldn't understand when somebody says, I'm printing 50 t-shirts for 2 days. Because I know that this can be done in 2 hours. But you're telling me that you're going to do 50 t-shirts in 2 days? No, it means then you're not competitive enough to work with me. So you need to know the business so that you can then hold people accountable. Not only that, but you can also be considerate. Considerate in their remuneration. Understand that this is the input that this is their input. This is how much they deserve to be paid. I don't believe in paying people peanuts. I don't believe in that. And I'd advise anybody who's aspiring to say that if you take care of your people, they'll take care of you. Pay them well if you can. But if you can't, also it's advisable to explain to them that this is what my business is not really performing so well, but I'm willing to give you this much. When we get better, you can then have, a bigger slice of the cake. It's very important. It's communication. My fourth point, communication in business. I have so many times been put myself in a vulnerable position where I have actually told my colleagues to be upfront with me, to tell me when they're not happy. You're putting yourself in a very vulnerable position right there. Or you're subordinate, or you can tell me when, I'm sorry, can I use the BS word? You can tell me when I'm bullshitting and you won't lose your job. So I had to say, because I needed them. I know I need them in order to be to efficiently run the business, and in order for the business to be run. So I told them, guys, if you see me doing something that's totally inappropriate, or that's letting you down in your work, please be upfront with me. Tell me that, can we have a moment? You're doing this and this and this and this, but this is not okay. And that has worked. They've advised me, you're undercharging. this is not supposed to be this much. You're undercharging. You're actually undercharging. And I said, guys, but they said, we think when I know you should stay away from charging certain people because you are very lenient. You are undercharging.
We saw it as women in business. I think we see it all. And we are something that's not normal. We are against the norm and we're challenging and shaking the status quo and the experiences that we have to share. Most people will be shocked and will be surprised for, wow, there's an actual woman who's taking up space in the branding industry. I need to get myself associated with that. And that goes to show how powerful and how capable we are as women. One of the things she talked about was communication, that there's freedom of communication and expression of feelings within her organization. And that's one of the key things that you need in a business, because if your employees are unhappy, there's nothing that's stopping them from walking out of the door. Your biggest asset could walk out of the door because when you are not going to communicate and you're not going to take no complaints from your employee. That's one of the things that's important, because when the storm hits, competitors will poach your employees. They will poach them and they wouldn't feel any need to stay here because they're not in a conducive environment or a workplace that's conducive for them. So have that kind of freedom with your employees so that, even when they're offered a bigger salary somewhere else, they're like, I like here. I like the environment and I'd rather grow my boss's business than go anywhere else. Because honestly, most employees, when they look at an environment, they look at somewhere where they can be happy. Not so much the money. I studied what we call leadership instead of managing. And one thing I would like to share with you guys, in entrepreneurship, become a leader. Don't become a manager. A manager says, I want results and I don't care how you get them, where you get them, just give me results. That strains employees. But a leader says, I am for the people, I'm with the people. I'm not going to give you a load and you're going to do it alone. No, we're growing the organization together because I value you. A leader is somebody you can come to and say, I'm having family problems, and they will listen. And that impacts your employees more than it can impact them in any way. Because they will remember that kind gesture because you are a leader. They'll remember what it is worth it to work for you because of you are a leader, because you lead, you don't dictate. And those are one of the principles I learned very quickly from having a job. I knew that I didn't want to become a manager. I wanted to become a leader. I wanted somebody to look forward to going to work, not like I didn't look forward to going to work every morning. I wanted somebody to be free, to be innovative, to be creative, to come up with solutions, because you're not an island. You may be the CEO of your business, but you can't come up with all the ideas, let alone run the company to its success, to become a billion-dollar company on your own. You need people.
I'm going to move on to, because I did say that glass ceilings are basically barriers. We're going to talk about a few glass ceilings that we experience as a country, or as women, because you'll find that as women, we have internalized things. Do you remember that back in the days we had Hore as a missus? How many of us are married before I go to this? Married? As a missus, I used to hear that, I don't know if it's still the law, but I used to hear that you can't just go on and just take a loan without men's knowing that your husband, the mister, knowing that you are about to take a loan. But if he feels like it, he can wake up one morning, go on and sign on the dotted line and take that loan and do whatever he wants to do with that loan. One barrier that is created by the system. The other thing, when you want to change land ownership maybe, or to change it maybe to commercialize it, you just can't do it. Where's the man? Does he know you want to do this? You can't just go wake up one day and decide, you know what, I've decided that commercially. You have to consult with the man, and the law expects you to consult with the man. If he doesn't sign on the dotted line, you can't do anything. But Bonnie, they can just wake up one day, decide, yo ma, by the way, ke changeile plot to ile, ke akanya gore re ka ruela dikukuku. And then you are surprised as a woman. Those are the challenges that we have as women, caused by the system. And then we move on to the other barriers, the old stereotypes. The status quo as it is in the country that business, it's a men's jungle, leadership is a space. It's really considered as a men's playground. Leadership in any space. Those are the questions you get before you even start. At the consideration stage, right? Have any of you experienced that? Where people ask you, are you sure you want to enter that space? Those are some of the things we get. And also the stereotypes, one of the other stereotypes, we are considered as home builders. We are soft beings, emotional, sensitive. Will you manage? It's a men's jungle. So as women, we are really expected to raise home, to maintain homes, raise kids. Monna is the one who has to be visionary, successful. So as you grow up, because you are socialized that way, your ultimate dream is, I know I have my master's degree, I can just find a job and work a regular job. But if I can find myself a successful man who will take care of me and the kids, that becomes your ultimate goal. Now you're not focused on you achieving all those things. Now you want a man who is working to achieve those things or has achieved them. That is how we women have been socialized. That is actually one of the barriers that really hinder us from breaking the ceiling. Have you ever also, I'm just curious, I also want that man too, not gonna lie, because maybe it's how we've been socialized. How many of you are looking to just get a husband who will take care of you while you run the home and live a comfortable life? Raise hands. Women, don't be shy. I can't be alone in this. Yeah. Okay.
Hovana said, it's okay, she said, I don't mean to brag. That's one thing, and as she said it, she had a thing to her, like, I don't mean to brag, but you could see she was bragging, right? Because she's earned it. If you earn the right to brag because you can show your achievement, do it. As women, we tend to then say, I don't mean to brag, and then we do this. But the way she did it, it's because she's worked for those bragging rights, right? So stand up tall, regardless of how small your efforts were. She did 100 cups, I don't know if it's 100, but it was similar with those cups, somebody else did not think of that, right? So there's a uniqueness to what she did. Already at the 100 cups, already at 1.5, I would have been bragging. I've made a 1.5 from 400 pula. Even in big businesses, such a margin and profits are difficult to achieve, very difficult to achieve. And as Patsima was saying, it's that concrete ceiling, right, that we need to break, especially as African women. Even the men. It's very difficult now with the effects of COVID. It's very difficult to fight for even a position in a workplace. But have you taken the risk, if you really want to become an entrepreneur, and you know the banker is in the room, have you taken the opportunity? And I'm giving you this so that I want to see who's going to do this when we're done. I want to see who's going to approach the banker to say, what opportunities exist for me in this program with your bank? She already gave you one. It takes 15 minutes to open a business account. It means there's more with the bank. When you finish this this platform is done and we're all walking out, that's the person you need to be speaking to. You need to go to Hofaone. The fact that she's sitting here sharing is because she wants you to walk to her afterwards and say, how did you do it? Because she only had 30 minutes to speak and it's not sufficient. But you can go to her organization and say, because COVID, but would you allow me to come in every day or once a week to learn how to do what you're doing? But to university, you can go and see Patsimo and say, you talked about internship. I may not be a student, but is it possible to shadow you to see how you do what you do? Is it possible to come to you on a Sunday when you're doing your bath balls and see how you do them? Or is it possible for us to partner, because when you have a full-time job, I can be on the ground marketing and selling. You see what I mean? Just because we're standing here and when we finish, if you don't walk to me when I finish here, then I've not done my job. You know what I mean? So take the stands, break the barrier. When you're being interviewed for a job, when you walk into a company and they tell you, come in with your product, and they refuse to buy from you, ask them, your customers, how many women are you letting in through this door to do the same? Challenge what you're being hit with. When you're sitting for an interview and you're being asked at the end of the interview, do you have any questions for us? Ask them. If you're confident that you nailed that interview, ask them, what is the ratio of women in your organization? Right? So that you can demonstrate that you are a fitting candidate to contribute to the 30% which Patsimo is saying SADC is aiming to increase in the workplace. Right? Walk in there with that confidence. You may not even have done a good job, but the fact that you've defended yourself as a woman to show that even though you're considered a minority, you are not going to be kept quiet. That's what gets you through the door.
So now I think the most important thing to do is to implement what we have learned. Or going into group discussions to see what did you understand about topic prejudice and glass ceilings? What did you understand about starting a business as a woman? All these things we've been presenting about. We're going into groups and then discuss them and, into the rawest part of them. I'm sure that some of you have been aching to say, as a woman, I'm having a challenge here and here and here, and I conquered it by doing so. And so I want you guys to get involved, not to just be with your friends, to learn. This is networking as well. We're doing these groups so that you get out of here with a few contacts. You get to know your neighbor. What are you doing? What are you getting involved in? Take their number, partner in it, sponsor them, or whatever. So make sure you use this time to also learn and network.
Tell us your story, tell us your business idea, and tell us how you're going to stay. So we learned that it is good to start. Just start. Don't overthink it. Don't underthink it. Don't stall it. Just start. And you have to be eager to succeed. We have to be ethical. We have to practice ethics in our businesses. And we're not supposed to spend more than we earn. And most importantly, these all come down to having to know how to brand your business.
I think one of the most important things that personally I learned from being in the blue team, which is of course the best team in my opinion. Yeah, that's definitely the best team. But from her, oh my goodness. So I told her that I've got a Facebook page called Roberta Media. She asked me, what do you want to do? I tried to answer, and then she asked me another question. I tried to answer, she asked me another question. And here I am thinking, oh, I have it all together. I know what I'm going to say, but she showed me that you do not know exactly what you want to do. And that is exactly why I'm finding it difficult to grow my business, because I'm not really specifying what service I'm really providing. And the truth of the matter is I've been working on multiple things. So I think it's very important to specify and know exactly what you want to do. My colleague here will also tell you the same thing. But I think that was very important for us to realize.
So basically what we learned was that as a woman, you must use your womanness to your advantage in a positive way, by the way. We were taught since we are homemakers, we must use our skills we must monetize our skills. If you know how to cook, then venture into cooking. If you know how to clean, then venture into the cleaning business and stuff like that. There are people who are very womanly who can give you advice. If you're good in that, you can go into a career in counseling and stuff like that.
Then thank you guys for participating. One of the things she mentioned was you should accept criticism. Kind of women, as women who are built to be emotional beings, like rechasta sengwe le sengwe and everything. But men, even it's very hard for their friendships or bonds to even break because of petty issues. But and take it to heart. And I think that's emotional intelligence within your organization that you have to apply, to know how to respond to things, to know how to be able to not let your emotions get the better of you. Okay, right now, since we're done with everything, what's on a vote of